Hey guys, welcome back here to my channel, and today I'm getting straight back into another episode here of my Mack inspired hypercoaster build, where I'm going to be continuing on today with the custom supports, focusing on the kind of big vertical loop here and also the big airtime hill after the first drop, and behind that airtime hill is a 0G roll, and I want to kind of make a structure that kind of supports both parts of the coaster in one go. So I'm looking at a reference photo for this vertical loop because I feel like the Mack coaster supports are very stylized and very special, and I wanted to kind of recreate that in a way that when you look at it, you know what type of coaster this is. I have to say that was actually really difficult. I was using Freedom 2K and also the poles from Parkitect, which is actually a method that Dan Amberley suggested over on Discord, and it's actually a really cool way of doing custom supports because they are much longer than the actual custom support pieces, meaning that you can actually get longer beams done much quicker, and it's easier to do these more complex type of structures. So yeah, this was kind of difficult here because of the space between the track coming on the return journey. It was actually kind of close to the loop, so doing the supports there was kind of tricky, but I just made the supports not as wide there. And yeah, I was just copying a picture from, I was looking at a picture from DC Rivals, which has a non-inverting loop, and also the loop on the Flash, which is a Mack hypercoaster. There's also one in Turkey as well, which I believe they actually did the testing on to see how loud it was for the coaster that they are going to build at Thorpe Park. But yeah, the supports are really like kind of crazy, very like these big structures on either side that go up the very like they kind of go over the top of the loop a little bit and kind of attach to the track a little bit on the top. So I'm just going to try and create that. These poles that I was doing now are actually going in the wrong direction, so I do actually change those at one point. The thing I found most difficult with doing these supports is trying to get the angle correct with the pole, and then as I was building the pole longer, having it line up with the pole that I was trying to get it to connect to on the other side. That was actually kind of tricky. But I got around it in the end. I actually ended up using some rope. You might see me do that at some point because the rope's really long, and I actually used that as like a template and then built the support, lined it up with the rope and then did it that way. So that was one way I got around it. I'm just doing these little bits that stick on the top now. The supports are not perfect. They don't line up exactly like to the millimeter or anything like that. There are slight imperfections throughout the supports, but the overall aesthetic and the look of them is what I was going for. And it was actually a lot more difficult than I originally planned how it was going to be. As well as doing the supports, I'm actually doing like custom track connectors using like a triangle piece, and also like having all the bolts and the way that the track actually connects to the support. Today I'm not actually going to show you that on this loop because it's so time consuming and really boring to watch. I did put down some of the track connectors, like the triangles within the track, but the actual like bolts and all that kind of stuff, I might show you a few at some point. I did some in the last episode, I believe, but I'm just going to skip over that today because it's just like the most boring thing to watch. Here's the little rope technique that I was talking about, using a rope as a template, which really helped me in that little situation there because I was really struggling to get the beam to connect. And now it's just trying to find pieces that kind of fit in where I'm trying to go with using some smaller pieces. I do use like a combination of Parkitect poles and actually the custom supports, but they actually color different. So if I color a pole white and then I color one of the support pieces white, the actual support piece comes up more gray. So I'm trying to like having to change the colors a little bit just so that they match a bit better. So now I just need to do some poles at the bottom of the loop, and then that is generally the kind of structure done. I'm just going to add footers and all that kind of thing to make it look more realistic. The theme I'm still working on. We'll get onto that a little bit in later in this video. I'm still working on that. I'm just trying to figure out what I want to do with the whole land. I'm thinking of running like a water ride through the bottom of one of the parts of the track to have that as like an interaction, maybe with like a rapids ride or something. I also want to do like a big plaza area for the coaster where the station is and the entrance. And the rest of the map, I'm not really sure. I kind of want to do it like as if it's at the back of a park, and I have like a tree line maybe, and I have like a staff entrance area with a backstage area kind of going where I've put that grey pathing in underneath the two hills of the coaster, which could be kind of cool. I really want to add a lot of detail into this. It's just trying to figure out what details and where to put them. So here are the little triangles. I think these are from Parkitect. I'm not actually 100% sure. But they've come in really, really handy for doing the track connectors. I just have to use Freedom 2K to line them up. And then in they go. Nice. And they look really cool. They look really like the Mack connectors, I must say. It does take up quite a bit of time putting these in and lining them up, but it's worth it. I think they look really cool, very realistic. I just need to do every single one of them for every support. With the supports on this coaster, I'm just taking it a little bit at a time, doing a section at a time, moving on, doing something else, coming back and doing another section so that it's not too overwhelming. Sometimes I find doing all the supports at once can be a bit too much and it can be very boring very quick. So I'm actually doing a color change. I'm going from white to this very sandy yellow, and that's because I got this comment on my last video which said maybe I should do an Egyptian theme, something like Ammon, god of air, and I think it was just such a awesome idea. And so for me to do like a slight Egyptian theme, the white supports weren't really working out. I feel like the sandy color is much better, very reminiscent of Montu and also Osiris from Parkitect, and obviously Montu's from Busch Gardens. And I thought it was a really nice idea. I absolutely love Montu. It's one of my favorite coasters. I love invert coasters anyway. And with that kind of blue, deep blue track, I felt like the sandy colored supports would go a lot better. And then now I have much more of an idea of how to do the plaza area. And with the blue track being like the god of the air and having it get lighter on the higher parts, I think works out really, really cool. So thank you for that recommendation. It really sparked a little bit of inspiration in me for this build. So that was really, really cool. So thank you. So now moving on to the other supports here. So this is for the Airtime Hill after the first drop and the Zero G roll, which is situated just behind it. And yeah, I'm just throwing down some poles, seeing what looks good, trying to make it look interesting, still trying to keep it in the realm of a Mack coaster, having the kind of over-supported, crazy type structure thing going on. And just kind of looking at some reference photos from real Mack coasters, getting an idea of how the supports maybe could be, and then trying to figure out how to do my own. So here I thought it was cool to do like an A-frame going over the top of the track there, coming at the bottom, and then attaching a support from the bottom of that support to the middle of the track to make like this connection there. So I thought that was kind of cool. And then I just need to kind of figure out how the rest of that support is going to be supported and how it connects to the rest of the track. The idea here is to do as little supports in one big support, if that makes sense. So I want to try and connect the track to many points of this support or this like section of like framework as possible, so that it's not just like loads of poles coming down. I want it to be like this kind of structure, you know what I mean? And I think that's just the best way to kind of get it to look like a Mack coaster. And I think it works best for this point of the track as well, just because of that kind of staff backstage area that I'm going to have coming underneath on that grey gravel area. So I need to think about what to do detail-wise for that. I'm not really quite sure yet. Maybe like a staff parking area somewhere, an entrance gate, and I just need to think of some other details. Things aren't really coming into my head right now, but I need to do some research on the old Google and see what I come up with. So on the support on this side, obviously on the back of it is the Zero G roll, and I'm trying to think of a way to connect it. So I'm kind of putting like a support that sticks out the side there and connects to the side of the Zero G roll. And then I think I'm just going to have to do some separate supports here for the actual inversion part itself. But it is connected somehow to the first support there that I've built. So I'm just trying to think about how to do this. I did notice on some real photos from Mack coasters that aside from the complex kind of support structures that they have on some areas, they do have a very generic support, which is kind of like an A-frame, but where one side is slightly longer and then the other side actually attaches kind of near the top of the other one. And that one, this kind of support they use just kind of like general curves and things. So that's kind of nice to see. So I've kind of done that there as well on the entrance to the Zero G roll, which I think looks really cool, really simple, but it works. Just gonna add some footers now. I found that rotating footers in correspondence to the direction of the footer looks really realistic, and I've started to do that now all the time, whereas before I used to have them going all in the same direction. Maybe I would tilt some or turn some at a 45-degree angle, but now I just really rotate them on Freedom 2K to really get organic looking support structures. That is everything for today. I don't want to bore you too much with custom support work, but thank you very much for watching. Here I've just laid down a rapids section of a rapids ride there, which I think will work out really, really cool. But thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and give me a thumbs up, and also a huge shout out to my Patreons. Thank you for the support, and I'll see you all next time here on my channel for another video. Bye.